So when I was growing up and stuff watching movies, I got to catch parts of the prequels, and I was always fascinated by Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, those two characters. And I like the prequels. I think they're fun. I love the lightsaber fights. I have a lot of fun with it. And Ewan McGregor's one of my favorite actors. I watch him in absolutely anything, and he's fantastic. He doesn't always have box office hits or anything, but his movies are always very enjoyable and usually very good. Doctor Sleep, I love that movie so much. He did a series last year with Netflix called Hilston, I think it was called Halston, as a fashion designer. So I've always ever since the prequels, I always wanted an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie or series, and I was so happy to hear that we were finally getting one of, Revenge of the Sith and then A New Hope. So, and like Darth Vader, like what's going to happen there? Like, where has Obi-Wan Kenobi been? What he's been up to? Of course, looking over Luke and Leia, the Logan style Obi-Wan Kenobi series. And look, this series was greenlit. They didn't like what they did or what they had written for it, so they went back and did rewrites, and now this is the series that we have. And Deborah Chow is directing all 7 episodes of this whatever limited series. And there has been rumors that we might get a season 2. So look, for me to enjoy this series, all I need to see is Ewan McGregor, so he's obviously going to be in it, him as a badass, and maybe an epic showdown between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And of course, we've had Ewan McGregor. I like the dark, gritty feel to him. I like he's kind of like a little bit, he's depressed in a way, after what happened with his best friend. There's the person he mentored up, Anakin. Now he thinks Anakin is basically dead, or he doesn't know where he is. He finds out Anakin's alive. For me, all I want to see is those two characters go at it. And the show is kind of diverged over to kind of Leia's story as well. And I was like, hold on, what's going on here? You also have Moses Ingram's character, is that her name? Moses Ingram.
Yes.
She, is one of the villains, and I'm like, this is supposed to be an Obi-Wan Kenobi show, far left and right, and not just stick with Obi-Wan. But there's a lot of problems with the show in terms of the directing seems times, the editing, the score, like Duel of the Fates was in the trailer, and Darth Vader's Imperial March. Like, where's all this stuff? It's not here at all. And I was rewatching Revenge of the Sith, and the lightsaber battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin, I should say, it was emotional. It was compelling. The score, the action was fantastic. And I don't know, the volume technology is fascinating at times. It's pretty cool how they're able to do this, but I think it has its limits. It has its restraints. Stranger Things, which we will talk about. The location shooting is fantastic. The directing from the Duffer brothers, from the other directors, it's really, really good. And here with Deborah Chow, I thought she's doing the 7 episodes. Okay, it's going to have one unique vision. And now I'm kind of sad that we don't have a different director every single episode, because I think this show needs a shake-up. But look, we have 3 episodes left. All I want to see is the Obi-Wan Darth Vader fight. That's all I want to see, and done well. Episode 3 didn't really sell me on it. I thought it was badly edited. Especially Darth Vader chasing after Obi-Wan, and the editing turns, and he's coming out of the same place, turns, stuff like that. Really weird editing. Even the chase sequences are really badly done. Now, maybe they're building up for the finale, where this big, massive battle is going to happen. It's going to be compelling action, music. It's going to be unbelievable. And then we'll all be satisfied, and I'll be happy at least. But what they've been showing us in the first 3 episodes hasn't really sold me yet. But I've enjoyed watching Obi-Wan. It's not like the show is completely terrible, in my opinion. I liked episode 1, episode 2. I liked episode 3. It's just I have some nitpicks at the way that they're presenting all of this, and the directing and the editing. And for me, it's very poor for this massive show. And I'm one who gives things a pass all of the time. I like Morbius, but here I like this series, but it could be much, much better, and it should be much, much better. I think Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor is so that's kind of my thoughts on it. But hopefully, episode 5 and 6, it ramps it up. We get better. Maybe I like how Darth Vader is playing with Obi-Wan Kenobi. I like that. And then Obi-Wan Kenobi doesn't want to fight either. I like those kind of things. But just the way it was shot, just seemed a little bit off to me now, in my opinion. But maybe you disagree.
Oh, I completely agree with you, man. And even more, like, I cannot agree with you more than that I do now. But yeah, like, look, I am a fan of this character like everyone else. I love this casting, since the even I never used to like the prequels, okay, before, rewatching them recently. But um I always liked the casting. Even Hayden Christensen, I like the casting. He kind of is like Andrew Garfield to me. So I like both of those casting. I thought the prequels had some good elements, but also had some bad elements. But after rewatching this time, I feel like the prequels are more ambitious than than what the execution was. Like they couldn't properly execute exactly what George Lucas wanted. I felt like that, but those aren't perfect movies. But I feel like those are enjoyable. Those are definitely, I would definitely credit them to having more risky and ambitious attempts at doing things than the sequels ever
Like,
did.
gotta have a flavor. Gotta
Yeah,
have a
they
flavor
they
to it.
do, and the best part about the prequels, what I felt was they did better world building than even the original trilogy. I felt because they had so much politics. They had, the Jedi Temple. They had so many characters. The world was just so big. You look outside a window, there are like a million things going on in the background. Like it felt like a big world. But the sequels always kept getting smaller and smaller, and it just kept revolving around Luke Skywalker and all of that's left about with him and all that. I love Luke Skywalker. He's my favorite, in Star Wars. But the thing is, this is Star Wars, and this is a world which has a lot of planets, galaxies, everything like that. So why just keep shrinking it, right? Anyway, so all of that aside, now coming to Obi-Wan, I was really hyped for it because obviously this is a pretty great character, and I really liked episode 1. I thought, the way he was presented in the show, it was pretty good. I felt like he was given the similar storyline to Luke, in The Last Jedi, so I really liked that. He left, his Jedi thing, and he buried his lightsaber. He was out of it. And even they even showed like people really really needing his help and dying in the process, but still he didn't go back and picked up his lightsaber and tried to help. So he was, even at that point, like that would be considered very controversial if it was directed by Ryan Johnson, I'm just saying. But he still was at that point, and I completely bought that, after going through Anakin and all that. I can completely understand what he was feeling and why he was the way he was. So I really like that story and I like that character. But then episode 2 happened and they kept bringing in this Inquisitor thing, and the story was about, basically about Darth Vader chasing Obi-Wan, right? So episode 2, I felt like it was a step down, and it was so weird, that whole world that they go on to. I felt that kind of took me out of Star Wars because it was so earth-like and it was so modern. Like the people were talking in our language, and the city looked like just like ours and stuff like that. So I felt like it was not Star Wars-y enough. So that kind of took me out. But episode 3, oh my god, this dude, I think you went really soft on the episode, I feel like, because I have some very harsh words. But yeah, I felt like this episode was just one of the top 5 worst. Well, I wouldn't say top 5 because Hawkeye exists, What If exists, but top 10 worst Disney Plus episodes ever. I felt like the editing was so bad. Look, the basic thing you do while you're a filmmaker, especially at Disney, especially working with for Star Wars and Lucasfilm, this is the top thing in your company. Like, how do you have such bad editing, bad basic basic shots and all that? So I felt like that completely took me out. I did not enjoy this episode at all. I completely agree with you, Mar. This felt so uncinematic, if you want to call it that. But this was supposed to be, the Vader meeting Obi-Wan scene, and that didn't feel like, much. Everything was so poorly lit. Everything was dark. You could barely see both of them. I understand you have to light the lightsabers and give them priority and all that, but that can be done with some lighting. Like, if you see the behind the scenes shots of those scenes, it's actually pretty good, well lit, but in the editing, they fucked it up so bad you could barely see anything. And on top of that, you have stuff like him running out the screen to the right and then coming right back here, and it's actually the other side, but we feel like it's on the same side because of the editing. The music was extremely
But even
poor.
at the end when the girl came in and shot the blast stormtrooper from picking up Obi-Wan, and then they're looking around, where did that come from? Where did that come from? It
It's
came from there where he got shot.
Yeah.
And it came from that side because that's the only side you can shoot from on the
and
volume.
and
That's the only
can't
side.
and
That's really
can't
cool.
Darth Vader sense her? Like,
Yeah.
or
And he could have. The fire wasn't even. The fire wasn't even covering the entire ground. There was
yeah,
actually a gap where there was no
yep,
fire. They could just walk around it.
stuff like that. That happens in another scene where there's a laser gate, and they try to open it, but you can clearly see the space beside it, and they both could have walked beside it, but it's stuff like that. I'm not comparing this show to the movies or to the prequels even. I'm comparing this to an actual good produced show that you can find on Disney Plus as well, like even The Mandalorian, which is not supposed to be bigger than Obi-Wan, but somehow feels like a massive scale show, but this does not. And it just bothered me so much. It felt like
Even
so.
even Boba Fett felt bigger at times.
Well, I didn't watch most of Boba Fett, so I can't talk about that. I just only watched 2 episodes. But yeah, like, there are people who actually really like Boba Fett too, and I don't know what's wrong
I,
with this show. I felt like maybe Filoni and Favreau were not overseeing this. Maybe that's the problem. Deborah Chow was doing the whole show. Maybe that's the problem. But I really liked her episode in The Mandalorian, so I don't know why. And also there was this change, in the final moments. Maybe the deadline was very strict, so maybe that could be one issue. I don't know what went wrong, but technically it was so bad. And the story is okay. The Inquisitors are so bad. I don't like any of them. I think just Sung Kang's character is pretty good. The others are pretty bad. I don't like them at all. Leia is pretty good. She's actually the best thing on the show. I feel like young Leia is perfect for in this role.
I think some of the dialogue at times is badly written for the actors, but the
Yes.
especially for Ingram Moses or Moses Ingram, whatever her name is, her character dialogue is bad, and so is Leia's. But the young actress, like, she's only a young kid, so I'm not saying she's a terrible actor, but of course she's not the best actor. But she has a personality in her words, and her comedic
Yeah.
timing is actually very good. So that saves her, I think, for me. And I actually enjoyed her in episode 2 because she was very witty, and the dialogue was
Yeah.
she was very funny. And then is this the first time on the Disney Plus shows we've seen a lightsaber
No,
fight? We
no,
haven't
no. It
seen it in any
was
other show.
shown in Mandalorian season 2, where Ahsoka was brought in. That episode termed the Jedi.
Yeah, I'm talking about like lightsaber, like two lightsabers are fighting each other. We haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, I believe we haven't.
And I don't know if the volume doesn't suit that type of thing or something, or I don't know. It's just like, I'm looking at Stranger Things. The location shooting is fantastic, and the directing is fantastic. How cool would a location lightsaber fight be, or a bigger? I don't know how it doesn't look as good as maybe it should have. But Brett says a good thing, an interesting thing, and I agree with it. He said it's like Obi-Wan died the same time as Anakin did, and now we have Ben. He's just Ben.
Yeah.
He's trying to find himself again.
I like
And I
that
think
part.
that is something that is a good thing in the story. And when he does find himself and he is able to fight Darth Vader, I think we will get even that. What I've seen so far, even the choreographed action, even in the
Yeah.
Obi-Wan blaster scene, it just hasn't been as crisp as maybe it should be, which is kind of making me doubt Deborah Chow right now. But maybe she can pull us so where we get unbelievable action.
I doubt that, but anytime there's action, like not even just the lightsaber scenes, like anytime there's action, running scenes, the parkour scene, the jumping around, falling, the stormtrooper fights, anything that had action in it, it was extremely poor. Like the editing was so bad, like Taken level bad. I just, didn't didn't like that at all. I don't know why, because the character stuff in the show is pretty good. When the camera is still, they're talking. I feel like that is pretty good. I don't see any problem there. But when there's a lot of editing going on, there's an issue. And that Vader Obi-Wan confrontation, I just feel like that shouldn't have happened at all. It felt like a fan film to me, and a really bad one at that, because there are pretty awesome fan films on YouTube. So after watching the episode, I genuinely thought that they accidentally uploaded the wrong episode. It was, I was that shocked by it. But me, like I give a pass to a lot of things, just like you, Mar. Even I like Morbius. I can see some issues, but I don't, disregard something. I find something to like in everything I watch. So if the negatives completely outweigh the positives I have, just I cannot appreciate it. So this is one of those for me. I I don't feel like this show can be redeemed anymore for me, because even if the next three episodes are good, I feel like this was so bad. Episode 3 was so bad that this show will sting. But maybe if the next three episodes are extremely good, like stellar episodes, like movie level, maybe then I'll be changed. But I don't think it can be fixed for me anymore.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Yeah, I actually think it better edited. That scene wouldn't have been as bad. Maybe
The
it
score
wouldn't have been as
too,
bad.
man. Like, look, I love Natalie Holt, and she was extremely good in Loki. I feel like, because it was such a hard thing to do, but she nailed it, and I was so excited for her to score the show. I don't know if it was her choice to do it this way, or Disney restricted her or whatever. But the end product, what I'm seeing, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all, and I hope she does better in the next few episodes. But the first three, I just did not like at all.
Well, look, I'm not here saying that I absolutely hate the show. I watched the show, the three episodes. I was able to watch them and give them a pass, but I was watching the series and I was like, yeah, this should be better. this should be
Yep.
better. This editing is very.
Like, it's
I can
Disney, dude,
excuse editing. Sometimes I
and
don't
it's
even.
Star Wars.
Yeah, it's like sometimes. Yeah, it should be the action should be a little bit better. The editing, the score, that should be a lot better. But I was just enjoying watching Obi-Wan Kenobi and McGregor more than anything. That's probably if he wasn't the main character, if it was some other random character, I probably wouldn't be watching the series anymore.
Yeah,
I
I
just lose
agree.
interest. What's the point?
I
So,
agree. Like, yeah, that
so
could be
yeah, we'll
that
see.
could be
Hopefully,
one thing that
hopefully,
keeps me watching. I agree with you. If this was, a Hawkeye like character, I probably would have not watched it, or Boba Fett. I probably would have just, dipped out. But just because it's Obi-Wan and there's Vader in it, I'm still keeping on watching it. And I hope the next three episodes are good. But yeah, this just left a very bad taste in my mouth. I'm not gonna lie.